Fishing methods in the Philippine Islands vary widely, with different communities using diverse techniques and equipment. Some traditional fishing methods include handlines, fishing nets, multiple or single lines, fish traps, spear diving, casting nets and hooks. In certain areas, tangled nets have been used to effectively collect samples from deep water on steep cliffs. However, illegal fishing practices, such as dynamite fishing, cyanide fishing, and muro-ami fishing, remain widespread and continue to be a serious problem in the Philippines. These destructive fishing practices pose a threat to coral reefs and other aquatic resources. To address these issues, strict enforcement of laws and regulations at both local and national levels is recommended. Longline fishing, or longline fishing, is a commercial fishing technique using long fishing lines with baited hooks attached at intervals through short branch lines called lines or fishing lines. A lanyard is attached to the main line by a clip or swivel, with a hook at the other end. Long fishing lines are classified primarily by where they are placed in the water column. This can be at the surface or at the bottom. The rope can also be placed with anchors or left to drift. Hundreds, even thousands of baited hooks can hang on a single line. This can lead to the death of various marine species. Trawlers fishing vessels equipped for fishing often target swordfish, tuna, flounder, sablefish and many other species. Fishing lines can be placed to hang near the surface to catch fish such as tuna and swordfish, or along the seabed to catch bottom fish species, like halibut or cod. People who fish for sablefish, also known as black cod, sometimes set gear on the seabed at depths of more than 1,100 meters using relatively simple equipment. Long lines with traps instead of hooks can be used for crab fishing in deep water. Swordfish, the lower jaw is also expanded to form a shorter sword. The well-developed sword in young fish is 10 mm long. Swordfish have significant regional differences in body size and weight. The average body length of swordfish caught by line in the Pacific Northwest is 1.2 to 1.9 meters. The average weight of animals caught in the Mediterranean is between 115 and 160 kilograms. Fish from Mediterranean populations rarely reach weights above 230 kilograms. In the western Atlantic they weigh up to 320 kilograms and in the southeastern Pacific up to 530 kilograms. Females are larger than males, rarely reaching weights of more than 140 kilograms. The largest swordfish ever caught was 4.55 meters long and weighed 650 kilograms. As they grow, swordfish undergo major morphological changes. The jaws of adult swordfish have no teeth, while young fish with a body length of up to 1 meter have smooth teeth. Juvenile fish are also covered with small, spiny scales, while adult fish with a body length of 1 meter or more have no scales. The lateral line is absent in adult swordfish, while it is present in juvenile. The swordfish is a large predatory bony fish found in temperate to tropical waters worldwide. It lives in the open ocean, rarely approaching the coast, and feeds on other fish and mollusks. Its namesake sword-like beak can reach 1/3 of the body length in adult fish. The scientific name of the genus, Ziphirs, comes from the Greek word ziphos, meaning sword. 1. The Latin word gladius stands for the Roman short sword, gladius. Swordfish is a valuable food fish. Swordfish are distributed worldwide in all tropical, subtropical and temperate oceans between 61 degrees north latitude and 50 degrees south latitude at water temperatures ranging from 5 degrees Celsius to 27 degrees Celsius. In the western Pacific, it lives at latitudes between 50 degrees north and 45 degrees north, and in the cooler eastern Pacific between 50 degrees north and 35 degrees north. In the Indian Ocean, the distribution extends north of 45 degrees south latitude. In the north, the distribution area is limited by the coast of South Asia. In the Atlantic, swordfish occur at latitudes 50 degrees north in the northwest and latitudes 60 degrees north in the northeast and 45 degrees north in the southwest and 45 degrees to 50 degrees north in the southwest. It also occurs in the Mediterranean, Sea of Marmara and Black Sea, and occasionally in the North Sea and Baltic Sea. Genetic exchange between Atlantic and Mediterranean populations is low. First, swordfish have a spindle-shaped body with a highly oval cross-section. Its namesake sword-like beak can reach 1/3 of the body length in adult fish. In contrast to the spear of its closest relatives, the sailfish and spearfish, which have a circular cross-section, the sword of the swordfish is flat. It is formed by the elongated upper jaw. In young sword There aren't many fish I haven't caught, so I get asked this question a lot. I wish I had a concrete answer. The standard comparison is to tie two fish to the tail and see which one wins, but that's not really possible and requires more strength than just pulling. There's a difference between the coast, where giant swordfish can be king, and offshore. Would a 50-pound giant swordfish fish be stronger than a 50-pound bonefish? Is a 1,000-pound bluefin tuna stronger than a 1,000-pound blue marlin? For example, what would be harder to catch on an identical obstruction from a stationary boat? These are good questions. In an effort to save time, I'll limit my semi-random musings to offshore species, which I can quickly narrow down to blue marlin and large yellowfin or bluefin tuna. I'd jump at the chance to catch a 100-pound blue marlin, but you can't pay me enough to fight a 50-pound tuna. I know people who fought those creatures for 5 or 6 hours on 50-pound loads, and steering the boat didn't make much of a difference because all they did was dive deep and swim away. If the criteria were just drag, the big tuna would win. The blue marlin is absolute pent-up violence. The strike was spectacular. Their first run was over a quarter of a mile greyhound hunting, after which they sounded. Finally, when you return him to the surface, the jumps begin again. It's true that a good skipper can back off a blue marlin and technically score by getting the leader on the rod tip, which means you're within 30 feet of the marlin. However, carrying fish is a completely different matter, especially using a fly fishing rod. There are a lot of people who spend more time offshore fishing than I do, so I sent out a few polls to vote. Captain R.T. Trossett, from Key West, Florida, once fought an 860-pound bluefin tuna for 7 hours. He also released a blue marlin weighing about 1,000 pounds in 90 minutes. Trossett's powerful vote is tuna. To get excited, it's the marlin. The power and ferocity of a blue marlin hooked on the surface is what fishing dreams are made of. However, occasionally, the hooked blue only makes a sound and never jumps. Wakeman calls the fish a sharp-nosed tuna. If blue marlin fought like tuna, catching them would be just as tiring. It is the spectacular jump that tires the marlin and makes it excited and catchable in a reasonable amount of time. There's nothing sensible about catching a giant yellowfin or bluefin tuna. It's just hard work. His first choice is tuna, with blue marlin just a hair behind. I am an expert at light tackle, so his comparison was a 50-pound tuna and a 50-pound marlin. It's still a tough comparison in terms of pure muscle, but the added excitement of catching a blue marlin makes the difference. The consensus seems to be that yellowfin and large bluefin are the strongest, which may explain why so few anglers think it worth catching one. However, the blue marlin comes in second and, in my opinion, is the best fishing experience. Humans have relied on marine resources for their livelihoods and livelihoods for centuries. However, the age-old fishery has grown rapidly as the global population continues to grow and demand for seafood increases. One of the most traditional fishing techniques that has gained attention is line fishing. This method is widely recognized as one of the most responsible, natural techniques, benefiting both fish quality and ocean sustainability. Join us on this journey below the ocean's surface to learn about longline fishing and discover why it is considered the future of sustainable fishing practices. Line fishing, also known as line fishing, is a commercial fishing technique used to catch a variety of fish and seafood. It involves the use of a long, horizontal main line, perhaps several miles long, to which many bait hooks are attached at regular intervals. As the Marine Stewardship Council explains, fishing lines can be used for pelagic, midwater, or bottom fishing, depending on the target species. Although this is only a brief overview of yellow line fishing, it is useful to understand exactly how the technique works. Long lines are used to target a variety of species, including cod, haddock, tuna, swordfish, flounder and many bottom-dwelling fish. It can be used in both offshore and deep-sea environments. The fishing boat drops the main fishing line into the water. Fishing lines can be placed near the ocean bottom or hung at specific depths to target certain fish species. A baited hook is attached regularly along the fishing line. The fishing line is soaked in water for a period of time so that the baited hook attracts and catches fish. Soaking times may vary depending on fishing regulations, target species behavior and number of hooks deployed. The fishing line was picked up by a commercial fishing vessel. The fishermen carefully pull the line, removing their catch from each hook as they go. As you can see, longline fishing offers a more precise, meticulous approach when compared to other commercial fishing methods such as trawling or dredging. This is largely why it is considered one of the best and most sustainable fishing techniques that can still be carried out on a large scale. Longline fishing, when done responsibly and sustainably, can provide a number of benefits. Let's take a closer look at some of them. Compared to other fishing techniques, yellow line fishing causes minimal disruption to the environment. In particular, fishing has been shown to destroy natural undersea habitats by dragging a large net across the seabed. This method can be very harmful to the environment as it impacts many natural habitats and animals that live on the seabed. On the other hand, line fishing does not affect the ocean floor. The wire is only immersed in water without causing a major impact on the underwater environment. Bycatch, or the unintentional capture of non-target species, is always a concern in the fishing industry. Longline fishing has significantly lower bycatch rates, especially compared to trawling, which uses large nets to catch fish indiscriminately. These hooks are circular and have a smaller opening that reduces the chance of turtles and marine mammals swallowing the hook or becoming hooked. Experts emphasize that circle hooks used in combination with bait for finfish such as mackerel significantly reduces sea turtle bycatch. Yellowline fishing operations can also follow the following recommendations to reduce the severity. Fishing is the main source of income for more than 500 households on the idyllic island of San Salvador, where ramshackle huts face white sand beaches and only occasional day trippers visit the beaches. Shallow reef here. It takes up to 18 hours by boat in good weather to reach Panatag or Bajo de Masinloc in the West Philippine Sea, a triangular complex of coral reefs around a vast lagoon that has long provided shelter for the ships were damaged by the storm and supplied food to San Salvador. At Scarborough Shoal, named after a British ship anchored on the atoll nearly 3 centuries ago, Filipino fishermen like Ronnie have become protagonists in a geopolitical drama not of their own making. The way fishing line works is by using a long fishing line equipped with multiple baits or hooks. A long rope is usually a series of hooks tied to a long, sturdy piece of rope. The process begins by spreading the long line on the sea surface or along the seabed, depending on the length of fishing line used. In the floating longline method, the horizontal fishing line is dropped on the sea surface with a certain distance between the hook and the hook. Bait and hooks are often made of materials that easily attract fish such as small fish, squid, or anchovies. The fishing line floats on the sea surface stretching several kilometers. Meanwhile, in the bottom longline method, the fishing line is placed on the seabed or near the surface of the seabed. Bait and hooks are arranged regularly along the fishing line to catch fish species that live near the seabed such as some types of tuna and swordfish. After dropping the fishing line into the sea, the fishermen wait a while to give the fish a chance to bite. This waiting process is called setting or soaking. After enough time has passed, the long fishing line is carefully pulled back up. The fisherman will then collect the fish that caught the hook during the process. The culture of fishing is one of the many facets that provide sustainable foods on the table, unveiling it on the island of Bantayan and describing it in terms of the fishermen's narratives on their beliefs, rituals and practices, challenges, success stories, and fishing experiences. These descriptions serve as the basis for the creation of a culture-based constructivist model of teaching. This study utilized a single case study design on the fishing culture of the island. Unstructured interview questions were used among the selected key informants. Their verbatim accounts were treated using thematic analysis. The use of modern fishing equipment challenged the traditional fishing beliefs and rituals of the fishermen in Bantayan. Still, the use of bobo traps remained essential in the fishermen's life on the island. Overcoming challenges and the use of interventions were barometers to success in fishing. Fishing does not only benefit the fishermen's daily needs, but it provides a significant benefit to the education of their children. The centuries' practice of bobo in fishing encapsulates a fertile ground for innovation to create a culture-based constructivist teaching model. This model increases the cultural awareness of educators to use culture as a tool in contextualizing the teaching and learning process. The need for further orientation and study on the efficacy of this model is recommended. World's highest marine biodiversity, corresponding to huge fish production and other marine resources. From a global perspective, the countries of Japan and China are considered the biggest fish consumers in the world. Japan's fishing industry relies on marine life as the country's geographical setting faces the Pacific Ocean. On the other hand, the geographical structure of China may be disadvantageous in obtaining seafood, but culturing freshwater fish becomes their alternative for their fishing industry. The same goes for the Philippines. The country's geographical features affect the means and techniques of fishing livelihood of Filipino fishermen. It is identified that fishing is one of the oldest cultures in the world. Culture comprises the beliefs, rituals, and practices of a particular group. In the Philippines, where some of the traditional cultures are considered a heritage, the fishing culture still exists despite its commercialization and advanced use of technology. Filipino fishermen exercise particular beliefs, practices, and rituals that aid them in catching bountiful fish. Undeniably, the archipelagic setting of the Philippines is an ideal fishing ground. Its maritime location was identified as one of the country's highest abundances of fish supply. Central Visayas alone contributes 74% of the country's fish supply. Kirat et al. Validated this high production of fish in the region by identifying the Visayan Sea, the Cebu-Bohol Sea, the Tanan Strait, the Camotes Sea, and the Danajon Double Barrier Reef as 5 principal fishing grounds that surround the province of Cebu. It was found that a total of 2,129,665 metric tons of offloaded fish came from both commercial and municipal fishing in northern Cebu. This profile supports the geographic view of Bantayan Island as one of the contributors to fish supplies in the northern part of the province. Not only known for its white beaches and amazing features, but this island is also considered concrete evidence that fishing culture in the country has endured and created significant strides in the people's livelihood in the island's fishing communities. Fishing in this area becomes a significant source of income for the inhabitants. With this abundance of fish resources in the Philippines, Tony Parras recommended measures to stakeholders in Central Visayas to make the supply of fish in the region sustainable. Sustainability depends on how fishing culture is valued and enhanced in the region, which can be promoted if the fisherman's role is recognized in the community through a concerted effort by the people in the academia. By utilizing the cultural practices of fishing in the instructional process, it was found that culturally responsive teaching improves students' engagement,